Welcome into your Friday edition of Bet. I'm your host, Anita Marks, and we are getting you ready for the NBA Finals, Game 4. We've got Nick Friedell, who's going to be joining us momentarily. Youngmisuk as well. Nick covering what's going on with the Miami Heat. Covering what's going on with the Denver Nuggets. And we're going to bring it together. So, Nick, how you doing? Thank you so much for joining us on Bet, my friend.
Anita, I'm doing great. It's always great to be with you.
All right, as always, it is Friday. It means we need to play a little bit of the good word. Jamal Murray, 12-1. I wish it was 21-1. 12-1 to score a triple-double. Now, keep in mind, he was 31-1 in Game 3 when he was able to hit it. But right now, the odds makers have it at 12-1. What's your good word?
Oh, Anita, I thought about this one, and I've thought about it over and over again, and I just don't know if he can do it again. I would go with uneasy on this one probably, because Murray can make it happen. I just don't know if he can make it happen twice in a row. And in the end, that's what I think the difference is. He can have a big game. I don't think he's going to have a triple-double again.
Yeah, my good word is nope. As much as I'd love to see it, look, I'm sporting him on my shirt for Bet. You know me, I'm all over these Nuggets. But I think last game 3 was an outlier situation, right? We know Jokic is going to get his triple-double tonight. At least I'm going to the window on that. But for Jokic and Murray, it was the first time ever in the history of the NBA that two guys in the same game in a finals both had a triple-double. So I just think it was an outlier situation. So no, I am not going to the window. So my good word is nope. Here we go. Question number 2. Final. To go the distance. 7 games is plus 250. To end in 6 is also plus 250, by the way. Same odds. Very interesting. What's your good word in regard to the notion of it going the distance?
Anita, I'm going with culture here. If you believe this thing is going to 6 or 7, you are believing that the Heat can continue to rise to the occasion. They've done it all throughout this postseason. They feel like they can still do it now. Jokic and Murray provide a different challenge, but if you believe in that one, you are all about the Heat. I'll go with culture.
So my good word is Cinco, because you're down there in South Florida. I'm from the 305, right? Like let's keep it within the family, right? And that's 5. Why Cinco? Because I said the Denver Nuggets were going to win this in 5, and I'm sticking to it, Nick. I think they win tonight. I think they go back to Denver, and I think they seal the deal and they close it out in 5, aka Cinco. Here we go. Question number 3. The Heat win Game 4, but the Nuggets win the series. And you can get that at plus 175. What's your good word?
Let's go with tasty here, Anita. I like it. I know it's going to be rocking in here. You can already hear it getting really loud in these sound checks. So the Heat know that they've got Jimmy. And Jimmy hasn't had his typical Jimmy-esque game in this series yet. They believe tonight's the moment. I think it is a possibility, but I'm still with you. I think the Nuggets end up winning in the end.
So my good word is flight, as in I don't believe this Denver Nuggets team wants to take another flight back down to South Beach unless, of course, it's to celebrate their championship. I don't think they want to bring a Game 6 back down to Miami. I think this is a crucial win. As we know, the majority of teams who are at 1-1 in the series and win Game 3 win the championship 80%. Marinate that for a minute. 80% of the time. Again, I just don't think that Denver Nuggets team want to celebrate on the Miami court. I think they want to win the championship and celebrate at Mile High. All right, let's do a deeper dive into this Miami Heat team, again, because you've got your finger on the pulse of this team better than anyone, Nick. So, as we know, Game 3, no bueno, right? The Heat, they lost. Jimmy Butler and Bam combined for 50 points. They still lost. They were only down by 5 at the half. They lost by 15. With that being said, They've had a day, a little over a day now, the last 48 hours. What do they need to correct? What do you think we're going to see differently heading into tonight's game?
Anita, I got another good word for you. Rebound. Because if Miami doesn't rebound the ball, they aren't winning this game. They got out-rebounded 58-33 in Game 3. Eric Spoelstra was so frustrated after that game. The players, Bam Adebayo and Jimmy, they're looking at that box score going, what did we do? Caleb Martin came out here after the shoot-around this morning. He said, we have to play with our hearts on the floor. They believe they can do it. But if you believe that Miami is winning tonight, you're believing that they are turning things around on the board. That is the number to watch for in this Game 4.
So I read an article today that described the Miami Heat and their offense in Game 3 as the most stale the offense has looked in the first 3 games. As a guy, again, who follows this team and knows this team extremely well, do you agree with that? Stale? That's a word for you. Stale?
Yeah, I do. Because they just didn't have the rhythm that they needed. And so much of what the Heat do, Anita, is defined by getting Jimmy going early, getting Bam going to the basket, and even more, Caleb Martin, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson. Those guys have to hit from the outside. When it doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen much in that second half, it can look really stale. It's something that they want to fix early, set a better tenor for this game, but that is absolutely the difference. That offense did not have a good rhythm at all, especially late in Game 3.
All right, Nick, give me an X factor in Game 4. Outside of Jimmy, outside of Bam, we know what those two cats delivered. Give me what is an X factor outside of those two guys for this Miami Heat team that needs to step up tonight?
It's got to be Strus. Anita, he is a heartbeat of this offense. There is so much time for Strus to get rolling. He hadn't done it so far aside from the first part of Game 2 after he went 0 for 10 in Game 1. He's got to be that guy who shoots it from the outside, creates the space for Jimmy to operate a little bit more. And like so many other shooters, Anita, once he starts hitting early, that's usually a very good sign, and it's contagious for the rest of the team.
I like that song. Dun, 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 dun. Anyway, all right, I've got another one for you. Our producer, Weimer, found this for us. This is interesting. This is a prop bet. Who will be the first player to 10 points tonight? And I want to get your thoughts on who you like. Here are the odds. No surprise, Jokic is favored. I kind of like Murray at plus 290. That might be the way I'm rolling. But taking a look at these odds, Nick, who do you think will be the first player to 10 points tonight?
Anita, if it's me, I'm going with Jokic. I think he's the guy. He has set the tone for that Denver team so many times. I know that Murray got rolling as well. But if you're Denver and you want to take a commanding 3-1 lead, you ride the guy that got you here. And that is Jokic. They know what he can do. They trust him down low. He can set up everyone else with his passing, but he can be just as impactful with his offense. That's where I put my money.
All right, before I let you go, got to get a play, right? So the Miami Heat, prior to us hitting the airwaves here on Bet, was 3.5. It's now down to 3, so they're getting 3. They're as a dog at home. The over-under was 210.5. It's now at 211, 211.5. I know the slow pace of play this series has developed into. With that being said, what do you think here? Side, total? How would you play this, Nick?
Anita, I'd go with Denver. I'd ride the hot hand. I think having watched this Heat team, they're just a little tired, especially Jimmy. Nobody's ever going to say that. They don't make excuses down here. But this is a group that has logged a lot of minutes. They have had a large emotional toll over the last few weeks. They know that they've got to have this one. And if you're Denver and you played the way you did in the second half and you have the Joker to continue to push the ball into, just think the momentum is there for them to find a way to take this game.
Nick, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it as always, my friend. We go from Nick Friedell to Ohm, who's got his finger on the pulse of the Denver Nuggets better than anyone. So, let's start with head coach Mike Malone, right? Like, probably needs a new pair of shoes. Listen, I know how much you love sneakers. You know how much I love shoes. He's probably going to need some new pair of shoes in regards to the amount of dirt that he kicked on his team after game 2 to see how they would respond in game 3. He has to be really ecstatic with the way that he saw how his team responded in the win that they got in game 3, right?
Anita, if Michael Malone needs new shoes, he should go ahead and buy himself 10 more pairs because it worked. Whatever he does, when he usually pushes the buttons for this team, he has a good pulse. He's basically their swagger almost, if you will. And for him to call out their effort, it was exactly what they needed. The thing is, whatever he told us in the media probably was 10 times worse in the locker room because 3 starters scrambled that night after game 2 and didn't talk to the media, but he got them to respond. So it's going to be really interesting. You know, Anita, I'm going to see Janet Jackson tomorrow night. I think the word here for the Nuggets is Rhythm Nation. Make sure to keep that same rhythm that they had in Game 3. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, keep that defensive rhythm as well. And if they do that, I think they could leave South Beach with a 3-1 lead.
I actually had a friend see that concert here in New York. They said it was fantastic. So you are in for a treat, my friend. All right. So I want to get your thoughts on who you think the leading scorer could be tonight in Game 4, right? There has to be a sense of desperation, a sense of urgency for this Miami Heat team. Would you take a flyer on Jimmy Buckets or Bam? Look at these odds.
Anita, if we go to what worked for Miami in this series in Game 2, it was turning Nikola Jokic into a scorer. Don't tell that to Spo, okay? I know Spo didn't like that idea, but I think in order for Miami to win, they got to go back to what worked. They got to keep the score low, and they also got to make Nikola Jokic work against his unselfish nature and make him score and take out the rest of his teammates, especially Jamal Murray. So if that's the case, I like Nikola Jokic. I mean, he scored 41 points in Game 2 in which they lost. Remember the statistic. When Nikola Jokic scores 40 or more points in the postseason, Denver Nuggets are 0-3. If I'm the Miami Heat, I'm going to try to do that again.
Well, Jokic has been the leading scorer in 2 of the 3, which leads me to my third question for you. And that is Jokic starting hot. We saw it last game, right? The over-under in the first quarter point prop for Jokic is 9.5, and it's actually juiced to the under. How would you play it? 9.5 points over/under for Jokic in the first quarter. Oh?
Well, if I am subscribing to the theory that Miami should try to do everything they can to duplicate what worked for them in Game 2, then yes, I think Nikola Jokic would score 10 or more points in that first quarter. I don't think they want what happened in Game 1. Nikola Jokic basically took 5 shots through the first 3 quarters, but had 10 assists by halftime, and the Nuggets were off to the races. So I think they're going to want to try to turn Nikola Jokic into a scorer. At least if I'm Miami, that's what I would do because I saw that it worked in Game 2. And this is basically your season's on the line tonight. You cannot go back to Denver down 3-1. You have to win tonight. This is basically a must-win for them. So you got to go back to what worked for you in Game 2.
All right, I asked Nick Friedell. I am going to ask you, and again, the line now, the Nuggets, they're favored by 3. It's dropped from 3.5. The over-under is 211.5. It's actually gone up from 210.5. How would you play tonight's matchup?
I have a ton of respect for Eric Spoelstra, as us Asians like to call him Filipino Jackson. So I think that the Heat are going to win this game. And I think that even if Denver pulls this one out, it's going to be very close. So I like Miami. I don't think Denver's going to cover. That would be the way I would play it, just because I think you're going to get a desperate Miami team playing for its season. So either they win this game or they're going to lose a very tight one.
Thank you so much. It's always great to have you and Nick. You guys are doing a phenomenal job all over our ESPN platforms, my friend. Keep up the great work. We so appreciate you. Thank you.
Thanks, Anita.
You got it. All right, so as always, we like to end the program with Before I Let You Go, and I've got quite a few plays for you. So first and foremost, how am I playing tonight's matchup? I love the Nuggets. I'm going to lay the points with the Nuggets. I'm also going to play Jokic with the triple-double. Why do I like Denver? Well, they've won 4 straight on the road. Meanwhile, the Miami Heat have lost 3 straight at home. Lowry, keep in mind, exited Game 3 with some type of leg injury. He is expected to play tonight, but will he be 100%? They still don't have Tyler Hero. I think Jimmy Butler is out of gas, to be quite frank. And keep an eye on Christian, don't call me Braun Brown. For 15 points in Game 3, able to really counter Miami's zone defense, and I think he gets a lot of playing time. What is a lot? For a rookie, 20 minutes, 22 minutes, I think is a lot. So I'm going over a steal for Christian Brown, Jokic triple-double, and give me the Bam double-double. Why? It's typically, it's like death and taxes. Jokic with the triple-double and Bam with the double-double. In fact, he should have gotten a double-double in all 3 games. He just missed it by 1 rebound. So that is how I'm playing tonight's game. And oh, by the way, tomorrow, bright and early, I'm heading out to the Belmont Stakes here in New York. So I've got exactly how I'm going to play it for you. Now, the Belmont Stakes, as we know, it's the 3rd leg of the Triple Crown. We've got the Derby, we got the Preakness, and this is called the Test of Champions. Why? It's 1.5 miles. It's the longest of the 3, and therefore you want to look at horses that are bred to run the distance. It's not a sprint, it is a marathon. And Tappet is a horse that, believe it or not, there's 9 horses that are racing tomorrow. 6 of the 9 have some type of lineage of Tappet. Why? Because one of the best races in regard to going this distance. So the course I'm going to play is the number 2 horse. It's Tappet Trice. It's a Pletcher horse trained by Pletcher. Ownership bought it for $1.3 million. Why? This is the perfect specimen. This is the perfect animal for this race. Big grinder, won the Bluegrass Stakes, will need speed from National Treasure and Tappet shoes in order to get that closing opportunity down the stretch. So I've got Tappet Trice to win, and I think when they do go off, I think it'll be 3-1. I'm also going to play an exacta key box. What does that mean? It means that I do believe that Tappet Trice is going to come in first, and then underneath, here are a few horses I'm going to play. Tappet Shoes and National Treasure, because I think they're going to be the speed in this race. I think Angel of Empire, who a lot of people have liked this racing season, and Red Route 1 is going to surprise some folks as well. So my exacta key box, 2 at the top, and then 1, 4, 8, and 9. That's how I'm playing the Belmont Stakes tomorrow. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. We've got you locked and loaded for tonight's game, and of course tomorrow for the Belmont. We'll be back next week with Bet. And again, enjoy the weekend, enjoy the NBA Finals, and we'll see you next week.